Jose Earthquakes and move our club forward. We will begin with introductions and prepared remarks, and then we will take questions and a photo opportunity at the end. First, I would like to introduce our panel here today. Next to me, we have Jared Shawley, the president of the San Jose Earthquakes. On the other end, general manager Chris Leach, and in the middle, the reason why we are here today. As head coach of the U.S. men's national team, he set the record for most wins, most World Cup appearances, and most Gold Cup titles, while leading the U.S. to their best finish in the World Cup since 1930, when MLS Cup champion, most of any head coach in MLS history. A four-time winner of the MLS Supporters Shield, also the most of any coach in MLS history. The record holder for most wins in MLS regular season and postseason history. He has also won the U.S. Open Cup, as well as the first MLS coach to win both the CONCACAF Champions Cup and the Copa Interamericana. A four-time recipient of the Sigi Schmid Coach of the Year, also the most in MLS history. Please welcome the Earthquakes' new sporting director and head coach, Bruce Arena.
Great intro.
We will begin with a statement from team president Jared Shawley.
Awesome. Thank you, Ted. And thank you all of you for coming out today. This is an incredible turnout for what's an incredible day in the history of the Earthquakes. I am so thrilled to welcome Bruce Arena, the winningest manager in U.S. and Major League Soccer history, to our club. So one more round of applause, please, for Bruce. Also thrilled to announce, along with the hiring of Bruce, we're going to be doing additional investments in staff and infrastructure and in a roster to support Bruce's plan that he laid out during our process with him. That infrastructure is going to include this room we're all in today for the press conference, which will be a new part of the team amenities, film room, new offices, new recovery spaces for the players. Next door to us, we're going to open a new dining hall for the players. And we're going to add an additional training field here on site at PayPal Park that should open up in the second quarter of 2025. So with all that, I just want to say I've appreciated getting to know Bruce during this process. I look forward to working with him to bring cups and championships back here to San Jose. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. We will now move on to a few words from the general manager of the Earthquakes, Chris Leach.
Good morning. Welcome, Bruce. Having worked with Bruce in the past, I'm looking forward to working together with him to continue to build out the first team. Bruce has obviously shown a great ability to build teams with the right mentality. He gets the most out of his players, both individually and as a group. And with his wealth of experience in roster building, I'm excited to work with him to improve our team and put a squad on the field that will compete for the playoffs in 2025, which we hope is a bounce-back season for us under his leadership.
Thank you, Chris. Now it is my honor to introduce to you the winningest coach in U.S. men's national team in MLS history, and today the new sporting director and head coach of the San Jose Earthquakes, Bruce Arena.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm familiar with the San Jose area from past experiences as a coach with DC United, coaching in the first game in MLS in 1996, and my first game here as a national team coach in 1998, and some spirited contests as the coach of the LA Galaxy. And I was never real confident coming up here to play, and you have a great tradition here, not only in MLS, but previous to that. It's been a fantastic city for soccer, and I'm anxious to try to move the club forward and make our team a team that everyone in the community can be proud of. It's going to take a lot of hard work on behalf of the players, the coaches, and the staff. I've received, in a short period of time, tremendous commitment from our owner. John has been very supportive, and our players and our fans are going to see changes around the club in the next year. The front office has been terrific. Jared and Chris and others have been very supportive. So I think it's a situation that we can really move the team forward. So I'm anxious to get back on the field in January and move our team forward and, again, make it a team that you can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. We will now move on to some questions from the live audience, and we're going to take some virtually as well. We're going to start off with Jeff Carlisle of ESPN.
Bruce, the academy system has produced some really promising players in recent years. I know that you have plans to bring in some new players, but I was just wanting to get your thoughts on how you plan to bring those players along and allow that investment in the academy to pay off a little bit for the team.
Well, certainly that'll be the responsibility of our entire technical organization. The recommendations from the academy, how we move players into the second team and eventually the first team. And I'm a person that believes in young players. And if they show us that they have the ability and the mentality to be first-team players, we're going to give them opportunities. But the system's in place, you know, and I know there's a number of homegrown players here already. So we're going to keep a close eye on that and obviously at the right time give those players an opportunity.
All right, now we're going to hear from Harold Gutman of the San Jose Mercury News.
Hi, Bruce. Like you said, it's a lot of hard work ahead. I'm just wondering, what do you think the biggest challenges will be, and how do you seek to overcome them for a team that finished in last place this year?
Well, if we finish 28th next year, we've made progress. I could be a coach of the year. So to me, that's not pressure. You know, I took over an LA Galaxy in 2008 that was in the bottom of the league, and that was the case with the New England Revolution. So I know it's challenging, and we're going to work hard. But the first thing we need to do is piece together a coaching staff, and then get on the field with these players and get to know them both on and off the field, and decide how we need to play, what kind of players we need to solidify the roster, and move forward. It's you know, if I could give a simple answer how we're going to just, you know, move forward right to the top of the league, I would like to be able to do that, but you can't. It's a lot of hard work, and once we get on the ground with these players in January, we're going to have a good feel for the kind of team we can have and the kind of things we need to do to make them better. That's all I can say.
Max Cordaro of Telemundo.
Good morning, Coach. Welcome to the Bay. Of course, winning a title is the obvious, but what kind of footprint do you want to leave on the Quakes? Because you're a man of projects, you're a man of build teams. So what kind of footprint do you want to leave here?
Well, we want to build a team to be a very competitive team in the league. And we want the community to be proud of our team. And if we can establish that, you know, the league is difficult. I don't know if you saw the last week in the MLS playoffs. Probably the three best teams in the league lost. So it's not easy. It's going to be challenging. You know, when I started in 1996, we only had 10 teams, of which obviously one was the Earthquakes as well. The league now, next year, will have 30 teams, right? It's going to be very challenging. We want to place this team and organization in a position to be among the best teams in the league.
Let's go to Robert Jonas, Quakes Epicenter.
Thank you, and welcome to San Jose. You bring a tremendous pedigree to San Jose, probably more accomplished than anyone who's ever led this team, whether it be general manager, whether it be technical director, whether it be coach. You also have the ear of John Fisher. In what capacity have those conversations led to specific changes that we will be seeing shortly, and as well as into the season?
Well, my communication with Mr. Fisher has been outstanding. He's been very supportive. I first came out here in the beginning of August and met with him in San Francisco, and then came out, as late as what, about 4 weeks ago, and we We met again for lunch in the Palo Alto area, and I was completely impressed by his commitment for this team, that we want to get better, and he's going to make the commitment. And the front office has been superb. So, I think we have a great relationship right now. Hopefully that can continue. But I would not have come here if I didn't think that this organization was committed to winning. So I think we are beginning to put the right pieces in place, and hopefully we can be successful.
And then Enrique Gutierrez of Univision. He's back there, guys.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bay Area, Bruce. Enrique Gutierrez with Univision. When you left New England about a year ago, over a year ago, there was a situation that was never clarified, which led to you leaving that team. Are you now in position to offer more details into what happened and willing to do so?
Sure. Let me say that I was the allegations I made insensitive remarks, and I would say this, that the position I hold in an organization as a sporting director and head coach is one where I'm held to a higher standard than basically anyone in our building, and I need to be smart about the things I say and my actions, and they're closely monitored every day. And I made a couple of mistakes there. I accept the responsibility, and I'm going to move forward. I would say this about my experience in New England. It was, I'm very proud of the work I did there. The players I enjoyed just about as much as any team I've ever had. Some really good people in the organization. The fan base was good. The people in Boston were great. So overall, it was a really positive experience for me, and I'm disappointed in the way it ended. But I've learned from that. I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Derek Sweet, who was the practitioner from MLS, and I learned a lot from him. We talked about sports, society, those type of things, and the role I play, and how I need to be smarter in the future. So I think it's a lesson learned, and I can assure you that I'll be a pretty good citizen here in San Jose.
We're going to take a quick break from the live audience and pass it to Earthquake's Director of Communications, Ryan Macchignana. He is moderating some of the questions that are going to come in virtually. Ryan?
Thank you, Ted. Those of you in the virtual room right now, we are going to call on you. So as soon as we call on you, we will unmute you. So please ask your question. We're going to start with Charles Boehm from MLSsoccer.com.
Thanks for speaking today, guys. Bruce, you've alluded to this a little bit, but I wanted to ask if you feel like part of the motivation is finishing on a better note than you did in New England, and maybe showing us that you still got it, because you came under a lot of criticism after the events of that of last year.
So the question is what?
Do you feel like you want to defend your legacy, or that you need to defend your legacy and show that you can still win in this league?
Well, I'm not defending my legacy. It is what it is. You can you can take it for what it is. This is a new challenge in my life, like the previous challenges I've taken, whether it is with an MLS club or the national team, and I look forward to it. This is what I do. So I'm excited about the opportunity, and as I've said today, I'm looking forward to making this team and organization a very successful one.
Okay, we'll move on to a question from Frank Delapa from the Boston Globe. Frank?
Great. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Frank.
We saw one of the more impressive turnarounds in MLS history when you came to New England. So how different is the situation in San Jose? And I think I know the answer to this, but can you expect to get similar results and as quickly there?
Well, one of the major differences is it's a lot warmer here than it is in in New England. Do I expect to get the same results? I can't answer that now, but we want to make this team into a good one and a competitive one. Every situation is different. DC United was different than the LA Galaxy. The LA Galaxy was different from the New York Red Bull. New England Revolution was different from the previous teams, and so is San Jose. They all have their own pros and cons. This is a great environment, and I think the potential here is enormous, so I look forward to this challenge.
Thank you, Frank. We'll move on to Fabian Renkel from SBI Soccer. Fabian.
Hi, how's it going? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Fabian.
Perfect. All right. So real quick, Bruce, I had a quick question. Okay. I had a quick question about what do you think about the current roster? What are some players that have stuck out to you? Have you had a second to kind of evaluate what you're looking for most going forward? Thank you.
Well, I think Christian Espinoza is a terrific player. He's one. Hernan Lopez has a lot of potential. There's some good players here, and I don't believe it's a 21-point team. I think it can be better than that. I said earlier in the week, I don't know if we're a 30-point team, a 40-point team, a 50-point team. I don't know the answer to that question yet, but I think the team can achieve more than they did, obviously, last year. And we will be making additions like any club in the league aspires to do. And, you'll see, I think, in the next month we'll make some moves. There's a lot ahead of us. There's option decisions to make by November 27th. There's a reentry draft, of which we have the #1 pick in the reentry draft. So we should be able to pick up a solid player. There's the college, the super draft. We have the 2nd pick there. Hopefully we can pick up a promising player there. And then there's free agency. So there's a lot of ways where we can improve our roster, and I think we'll be able to do that.
Thank you. We'll move on to a question from Brian Gingrich from the Santa Cruz Voice. Brian.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us today, Bruce. So you hear a lot about culture change, and that seems, in order for the club. How much culture change do you think there needs to be? And is it more important to be able to win sooner or have a long-term lasting culture change for when, you eventually would step down from the position?
Geez, you got me out of here already, huh? Wow.
No, well, nothing's forever. So,
I think you want to accomplish both, and it's not easy to do. But we want to be successful as soon as possible, and we want this club to be a consistently good club year in and year out. That would be the goal. And having said that, it's not going to be easy. And you've seen around the league that there's been a lot of peaks and valleys for clubs, that the clubs that are consistently at the top are probably the clubs that are very much dedicated resource-wise to maintaining themselves in the upper echelon. So that would certainly be a challenge for our club. But in the near future, the goal is simply improve, make this community proud of the team, position ourselves to be in the playoffs, and maybe we can be the story of Atlanta this year as well, which finished 9th in the Eastern Conference and is advancing in the playoffs. So that's part of the dream you have in MLS as well.
Thank you, Brian. We'll move on to a question from Ann Killian from the San Francisco Chronicle. Ann?
Hi, Bruce. Thank you. John Fisher has been in the crosshairs here in the Bay Area for a long time for not investing in the sports teams that he owns, keeping them in the very lower ranks of payroll, et cetera. And you've talked about the assurances you've been given. I'm just wondering what if you could elaborate on those a little bit more, how can you be assured that you are going to get the resources you need to turn this around?
Well, John Fisher and the front office has already assured me that they're dedicating resources to help improve the club. The first part are the facilities, and we're making great improvements here, and our players, when they show up in January, are going to know that we're committed to be a winning organization. And my meetings with Mr. Fisher strongly indicates that he's going to support the club. We don't expect to be into Miami, believe me, but we're going to move our club up the ladder to position ourselves to be a much more competitive team. And I believe there's great commitment on part of the owner as well as our front office.
We have one last virtual question. Thank you, Ann. This one comes from Marco Yukalovich from Bay Area Sports Wrap. Marco.
Realistically, when do you think you can really turn this team around and make it a playoff contender again? And what really makes you different from the last two previous head coaches that did not have success here? Thank you.
Well, it's a lot of hard work, making the players that are here better, bringing in players that can help make the team better. And I can't speak for the past, unless you're around the team day in and day out, you really don't know what's going on. So I don't want to comment anything in the past. But I do remember years ago playing against the San Jose Earthquake, and they were pretty damn competitive. So I believe we can be competitive again.
All right, this concludes the virtual portion of the press conference. Ted, back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. We are going to take more questions from our live audience. I'll start with any of our friends back there on the risers, as I know I can't see you very well. Any questions in the back? All right. Kevin Nguyen with SF Standard.
Hey, Bruce. Welcome to San Jose. This question's actually going to be for you and Chris. Can either of you talk about how the front office evolves with you joining it? And Chris, I was wondering, if you've had a chance to reflect on last year, because it felt like the team was building off of a solid foundation. I'd be wondering if you could reflect on maybe your biggest lesson learned from the campaign. Thanks.
Well, Chris and I will be working together. I have the title of sporting director, but I'm also the head coach. A lot of the everyday work will be Chris's responsibility. Not only do we have to deal with the first team, but Chris has the responsibilities of the second team and the academy. So we'll have a good working relationship, and I'll let him expand on that.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to growing that relationship. There's a lot of work. It's tough. It's not even a one or two man team. It's literally 5, 6, 7 kind of directors with the whole support staff underneath that make this thing move. So looking forward to working closely with Bruce under his leadership, like I said, pushing this forward. To your point, there were some points last year where it was promising. But at the end of the day, this is a result-oriented business, and the results weren't there. So looking forward to bounce back next year and under Bruce's leadership, turn things around.
Abram Heredia from Tectonic Takes.
Hi, Bruce. Welcome to the club. We wanted to know, with the historically poor performing season we had last year, what were some attractive aspects that brought you to the club? And yeah.
Well, I think there's potential, and certainly when you take over a team that finishes last, in my opinion, it can only go one way. So, that's important to note for sure. But I think, again, I'm going to go back to my experiences with this club. It has a great tradition, not only during the MLS, but before that. The community, there's been a great history here. It's a community that wants to support a good team. And we know how to build teams. I'm going to have what I believe is going to be a very good coaching staff, and we're going to work real hard to start moving forward. And I think the potential's here. The ownership is supporting us. there's a good enough base of players to work off of. We will bring in some additions, obviously, over the next couple of months. And when we kick off in late February, we're hopeful that we're going to have a pretty competitive team and we can turn it around. I'm not promising that we're winning the MLS Cup in 2025, but I'm promising that we will have a better team and a team that this community and our fan base will be proud of.
Paula Maruri, KIQI.
This is for Bruce Arena. Welcome to San Jose. We have talked in the past, like in the Gold Cup. I would like to know, how do you feel to bring all your experience to this club with so much history? And also I would like to follow up about your coaching philosophy and how you're going to combine your knowledge and skills to empower this team in a different direction. And thank you so much.
Well, you know, I think my experience speaks for itself, and I'll bring in a good staff to support me. And my philosophy, I'm a little different than a lot of coaches. I look at the strengths and weaknesses of the players and the squad that we have, and we employ a style of play that's suitable for them to be successful. If you look at teams around the world like a Man City or a Real Madrid, they have the luxury to bring in any kind of players they need to make their teams better. We don't have that situation in Major League Soccer, and I always look at the roster, look at the strengths of our roster, look at the weaknesses of our roster, and design tactics that will give us the opportunity to be successful. So I can't tell you exactly what I like. You know, I can promise you we will have 10 field players and a goalkeeper, and we'll either play with a back three or a back four. All right? After that, it remains to be seen.
Okay. Michael Roberson from the African American Athletes.
All right, Bruce. With all the other teams around here that have had winning success, with the Giants, Warriors, even Bay FC in their first year made the playoffs, how much pressure is it for you to compete with the other teams here in the Bay Area?
I think that's great. You know, I just came out of a city that has a pretty good sports culture in Boston. And I've been in LA. It's the same thing. That's great. You want to have the pressure to be successful. We want to, you know, we want people in this community to be proud of this team. And, you know, obviously with the success of the NFL team, the NBA teams, obviously the NHL team in the past and the women now, it's challenging. So that's a motivation for us to be successful. And, you know, when our players report in January, from day one, the message is going to be clear that we're going to work hard to be successful, and we're not going to accept 21 points in a 34-game season. So we're going to start day one, hit the guys with the message that this franchise needs to be successful on the field.
Lucas Quick from the Spear.
Hey, Bruce, welcome to the Bay Area. You had touched upon how your first coaching experience in the MLS and your first U.S. international game was also in San Jose. So what about San Jose keeps you from coming back?
Well, it's a great community. This part of California is one of the greatest places to live in the country. The weather's beautiful, the tradition here is great, and the challenge is great. So you can't ask for more.
And Mohammed Najimi of San Jose State Update News.
What do you hope your legacy will be at the end of your tenure here at during your tenure here at San Jose Earthquakes?
That I did a good job. That would be nice.
All right, well, thank you all for attending today's press conference. We're excited to see all of you back here next year for the Earthquakes 2025 season. Bruce will be available briefly to answer additional questions for media in attendance, but first, we are going to have a photo op on stage with Jared, Chris, and Bruce. Please enjoy some refreshments and go Quakes!
Yeah, Bruce.